Yeah, that'd be funny. Okay, let's start.
Alright, so welcome to episode 2 of the G.W. Williams Music interviews. And today we have David Lum. He teaches at York University. He's had a bunch of accomplishments. I believe, founded the OBA.
I was one of the founders.
One of the founding members of the OBA.
Yes, it is all my fault. No.
And we were very honored to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm actually honored to be here, more than you're honored to have me. I'm great. That was a great rehearsal, and like I said to the gang out there, it's like coming home when I come back, and it's not true about every school. So it's nice to come back and visit with all you folks and my friend Mr. Harrison.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty proud of that rehearsal. Maybe.
Good. Yeah.
But
I told you to be quiet often enough.
Yes.
That must have.
Well, it's a learning process. So let's just get right into the questions.
Sure.
So I know that you've had a big reputation for music education in the band world in Canada. And so I wanted to ask you your thoughts on leadership in students in the school. At our school we have a lot of small ensembles, a lot of student-led ensembles. So I wanted to ask if you had any advice for leading an ensemble.
Well, that's two different questions. Leading an ensemble takes the will to be able to communicate with people that maybe don't see things the way you see them. But if you're going to be the leader, you have to hear ideas, and you have to have ideas about how the music is going to go and how you want the ensemble to proceed. In terms of leadership in students, I think that students leadership evolves differently for every student. I think if you give them opportunities to lead, some students will jump at the opportunity and some will wait to see what it looks like, and then they'll find their way into being a leader. You know what I mean? It's not doing something like this, for instance, isn't for everyone. Some people might want to just see how this goes and then dip their toe in the water, I like to say, with leadership. Leadership can take on many roles. It could just be helping out a grade 9 student. It could just be helping Mr. Harrison carry some things to the car. Leadership comes in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't have to be music. It just so happens that everything that you do here well, and that we used to do well at Agent Crow, and they still do, is that music is just the conduit. Music is what brings us together, the activity, but what comes out of that is what happens when people interact and they get to know each other and they build confidence. Right? I remember meeting you for the first time when you were in grade 9. I can't imagine you doing this, and I don't know if you can imagine yourself doing it, but you grow up and you get confidence from playing, right? And from being with like-minded people around you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very important part of building a community in a school.
Sure. Yeah.
And especially in music. And sort of as a follow-up question, what are your thoughts on building a student community? How do you think students sort of play a role in that, in building a community within the music department?
Well, I think building a community within a school, if you just you're genuine with students and your colleagues, if you're just the genuine person, people will eventually navigate to you, right, or gravitate to you rather. And once you have students in the room, you can see, as a teacher, we want to see what we can do to present opportunities for leadership and for building the community. It doesn't work for everyone and every time, but the more students you have in, the greater the community can grow. But it all starts with you being your authentic person.
Yeah.
And just like when senior students, for the junior students, they don't want to see what you think they want to see. They want to see who you really are. And once they know that, they can depend on that, and then they can be themselves. And then the community builds after that. Yeah. I think, anyway. I think that's how we have to nudge students a little sometimes because you're still, your form of leadership and building community is evolving and emerging. It doesn't just happen. Very few times do we have students where they just show up and they're born leaders.
Yeah.
So it emerges sometimes, and we have experience sort of knowing those keys and knowing where we can sort of push you or direct you, and try to put you in situations where you'll be successful and you can help other students.
Yeah. Definitely. I think community in our music department, I think music plays definitely a role in that for bringing people together. Sort of in that same line of questioning again. So last time in our last interview when we had Colin Clark over, we asked him what he thought was we asked him what he thought was the best advice for musicians. But I think I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the most underrated piece of advice that you give you would give to musicians? Or just students who want to keep music in their lives?
Wow, that's a hard question because there's many facets to that. I mean, the advice I would give music students in particular is be comfortable with failure, because you're going to do a lot of wrong things before you get it right.
Yeah.
And then even when you get it right, it's not going to stay right all the time. There's that 1% of people that can do it right within the first couple of times and then do that all the time. That's what we talked about today, consistency, right? And there's ways to get to consistency, but it doesn't just happen. I think being prepared to be wrong and to live with that is really important, because I went to school with folks that couldn't deal with a certain amount of failure and they didn't proceed. Something as little as not getting chosen to be in a certain ensemble. Well, that's going to happen in the role. You're not going to win all the jobs.
Yeah.
So and in teaching as well, right? It's difficult. You just have to. The problems are going to happen. The character of the person comes out when you see how they recover, or if they recover, or what path they take after that road, the speed bump.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not always a straight line for people. Sometimes it's this. Well, I mean, we have colleagues that didn't do music degrees, but have built big programs and are doing fine. I have vocalist colleagues that are great band teachers. Yeah. So it really is how you get to where you want to be.
I think that applies like outside of music. Right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just in music. That's a transferable philosophy for sure. Yeah.
I think that's like a definitely important part of life. So I wanted to move back to sort of music again.
Right.
And this is a question my friend James wanted to ask, right behind the camera right there. So what is your top 3 favorite pieces of band repertoire? In no particular order, because I know that's a hard ask.
Well, for different reasons, Lincolnshire Posy is just a piece that I grew up loving, and I've played it, I've conducted, I've listened to it lots, and I've studied it, not as much as many, but I've studied it it's really piqued my interest. Any of the music of Alfred Reed, I really enjoy because of the craft that's put into it. Not necessarily the music, like the actual music or the melody, more for the technical beauty that he scores the way he scores the music is really, that's a different. My good friend Don Coakley, Don, I'm using your words now. The art is in the orchestration, right? That's what makes the music really special. You can come up with a great composition, but if it's not orchestrated or voiced or arranged properly, then people aren't going to play it. Right? So it's an art for sure. So I think of Alfred Reed's music as being just spectacularly orchestrated. So I really enjoy playing it. I enjoy conducting it. I enjoy listening to it. The last one, it's hard because I don't know a lot. I'm going to go with the genre more than, and it's not band music. I really, really like choral music that has a really strong meaning tonally. Like when I hear a piece of choral music and it touches me and it gets inside me, that's a really special. For me, that's a really special moment.
Yeah.
For me, I think of O Manu Mysterium. So Robert Reynolds, who at the time was at USC, arranged the Morton Lawrenson piece, and I was lucky enough to be at the premiere at Midwest. It was an inner city LA, Los Angeles band that played it, I believe. And you look up on stage, and we go to this conference, and there's a lot of monochromatic look on the stage. Take that for whatever you think it is. But this little band from Los Angeles was as multicultural as I'd seen at that particular conference. And they played this masterwork of choral music arranged by a master of wind music. It was just, I was sitting by the door, I looked down the road, like I wasn't the only one in tears. But I was close to the door. As soon as the concert was over, I went out and I went downstairs and I bought the piece. And I'm pretty sure we had one of the earliest Canadian performances, because I don't know where it was other than that. But it was one of those pieces that the roots of the music were from the choral world. And so, lately, I've really been engaged with Yukiko Nishimura. Her music is just, and it's not just her band music. I've gone on the website, her string music is beautiful, the choral music is beautiful, but the string works are just really special. And it transfers to her band works as well, so, yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm gonna need to put that on my playing list. I've never heard of it. So this one's just for me. This is our last question because we may run out of time. But as a tuba player, what is the best piece of solo tuba repertoire?
Well, I'll be honest with you, total transparency. I can't play what you're playing right now. I could never play that. I wasn't a soloist. I made my name at school by being a good sight reader. I played in quintets. And I loved playing in band, but I was never a soloist. But I mean, I've heard some really fine pieces. I mean, Vaughan Williams is easy. Hindemith is easy. Those are traditional pieces. Spectacular, not a piece of tuba music, but like Carnival of Venice, I've heard it played on many different instruments, and it's just a spectacular piece of music. I mean, a lot of technique. But if I have to answer for tuba, from my own perspective, I was telling Mr. Harrison about this piece. It's Alec Wilder wrote a piece called the Effie Suite. 6 movements, beautiful, beautiful music. Yeah. Second and fourth movements are lullabies, love stories, and they're just gorgeous. And everything else, the technical demands are, in some moments, as technical as the Vaughan Williams, just not as extensive. Yeah. But I think it's a wonderful piece of music. Yeah. So. Again, I
hard piece of music.
Yeah, well, they're all hard.
Yeah. So. You rarely get to see a tuba solo.
Yeah, but when you do, it's pretty special. Yeah. I mean, if you want to dig deep, Pete Meekin has written a piece of tuba music, a tuba solo with ensemble. Yeah.
I just need to add all these to my playlist.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm trying to remember the composer. She lives in Toronto, but she's from out west. Oboist. Elizabeth Rom. Yeah. Erica's her daughter. I went to school with Erica. But Elizabeth has written, she wrote a tuba solo, a tuba concerto for can't remember the tuba player's name. But it's a great piece of music. Yeah. Challenging. Yeah. But yeah, you should look into that. Sorry, it's not John Fletcher. But that's what I was thinking of.
Well, you'll remember at some point.
Yeah.
You'll Google for that reason.
The mind will come back at some point.
So I think that's all the time we have today.
All right. Well, thank you. That was great.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for your work today and for this. This is a great initiative for the music leadership team, and just to get for other students to see what's happening inside the room if they're not there. Yeah. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.